On October 28th, a ghost shared ghost stories.
But would anybody like to start? Tammy, what is one of the like places that we have been? Because we've been to a lot of places. This is gonna make me laugh the whole time because I'm like,
I would really love to go back to Montana State Prison. The activity level there was crazy. It was all audible. I didn't see anything visually, but there's no power there. And we walked into one of the buildings, the administration building, that we found out later there had been a riot there and some people died there. And it sounded, you know how it sounds when a TV's on in another room? That's what it sounded like. We kept following and following, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning at that time. And it's in this little town that literally the McDonald's closes at like 8 or 9 o'clock. There's no noise outside. We went outside the building, could hear nothing. The walls are huge, they're like 4 feet thick or something. Went back in and you could still hear it. You couldn't hear what it was saying, but we were constantly following. Preston Castle with the walking and the footsteps, that I've never heard footsteps that loud that you're like, no one could get up there on that floor. It was locked. And they sound like they were going to barrel down the stairs on us. So those were two really. El Corazon was the only place I ever saw something. That would be kind of.
what did you see?
El Corazon.
At first I saw peripheral vision, a shadow figure. And I was like, and then I turned my head, looked straight on it, and saw it again, walk the other direction. And
Did
I'm
you
like,
flip your hair when you did?
No, I didn't, and I didn't scream demons gonna possess me.
With some slow
No. And the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, and then I was watching where everyone was because we were setting up equipment at that time. It was not during the investigation. So we had the lights on and everything, so I was like, oh, that's a shadow, and I'm like, no, we're standing still here and there's nobody else in this room setting up that we were in. And I was talking to another investigator and and she saw it too, and it was like, whoa.
That's pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool. So those are
You know,
public places I'd like to go.
the administration building is where I saw, or I had that creepy EVP that I thought something was following me. And
In Montana State Prison?
in the administration building,
Yeah,
and,
that was pretty, that building, I think I got touched in there, I and another investigator. And back in the women's prison part two, we were tearing up at that time, but we were all in one room, once again tearing up, and we heard one of the jail cells slam. And they're like, what, a couple 100 pounds, those doors?
That
And
happened
they
to us,
don't
too.
move, I mean, they're really hard to make move. And it had slammed shut, and we all jumped, we're like, oh my God. I mean, is it just that sound?
yeah, we got really lucky. We were there. We did an investigation there, and there were, it was just my friend Trista and I and a couple other guys. And so there were 4 of us in the whole prison with the one woman that stayed. So there was nobody else there at the prison. And we were at this other area when all of a sudden we heard a door just slam, and it was a cell door.
Yeah,
It was like,
there's no way they
what?
can move themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a crew of, I think there were 8 of us maybe there. I'd have to look back in my records. So there weren't that many, and we were all at tear down at that time in that room, tearing down. That was our final EVP session, was in that room. And there's no explanation for why it slammed or the voices that we heard, because we were all in different parts of the building.
Would it be okay if I get you two to sit and tell that story so I can put it on Ghost TV? Or
Yeah.
do you want to
At
hold
some
so you
time.
can, or do you want to?
Well, I can't today because I'm gonna have to actually leave early
Okay.
to head over the mountain, so.
Okay.
In a few minutes.
Hopefully the rain will stop by
We'll
the
stick a
time.
pin in it for now.
Yeah, that place is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I've got lots
of
few
evidence
stories,
from
yeah.
there. Battery drain, I mean, everything that could possibly happen except seeing an apparition happened. And that was my very first investigation.
Yeah, that's when I was going through there,
Skeptical.
and that's when I felt like I rubbed up against something, and I thought somebody was on the floor and they rubbed up against them. I was like, what the hell?
In the administration building?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I put my flashlight down and it was just like there was nobody there, and I was like really, really puzzled.
Well, years and years ago, there probably was somebody.
Well, even my friend Matt was with me. The place was completely, dark. We were, in the middle. There's no windows there. It's just hallways and hallways. And
But someone
everything.
died right there in that middle of that administration area when they had that riot. Isn't that where the,
maybe. Well, that's where it happened. It was right.
Yeah.
We were right in the middle there, and that's
Yeah.
when all of a sudden I got overcome with panic. And you know me, I don't panic.
uh
And all of a sudden I started panicking, and I said, "We've got to get out of here, Matt. We've got to get out of here
that
now."
happened to me in the hole, the first hole there.
But that was the time when I said that, and I was turned the other way, and that's when he left me by myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa!" He left me. I don't know. I'm not even sure where he went. He just took off, and he thought I was right behind him. That's what he said.
Sure.
But I felt like something was right at my neck, and I felt, I don't know if I felt breath, but I felt like somebody was right there in the back of my neck. Was the hair in the back of my neck was standing up, and I just gotta find that EVP. But that's when all of a sudden, I go out there and I said, "Oh my God, Matt, I don't know what that was. I have no idea what that was." And then all of a sudden you hear that little creepy voice say, "It's me." It's like the best ever. But at least, I love that. But yeah, it was the administration building, and everybody else thinks, the cells are the most haunted. I was like, no.
We had a lot in the administration building. We had strange K2 hits. We did an EVP session in the director's office there. All of us sitting in there, and we could hear sounds, and got EVP there, got EVP right there in the lobby of it. And we all started hearing audibles where we thought someone had a TV on in the other room. So Ross sent two of us out to go investigate around, and it's like that big circle that you walk and you come back in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Yeah, we gotta plan
That's a
another trip
great-
out there. But I don't know if they do the paranormal thing anymore, because the woman.
They liked Ross, and I think. they
Yeah, but
liked
that
his
was a long
own.
time ago.
Yeah.
The woman that was in charge of it embezzled like over $100,000 worth of the money, and the board did not know she was giving ghost tours at night, and she was
Oh,
taking
no.
cash from people. And she'd stay all night with them, and so they, of course, never really find out until they found out. Now she's in prison.
Cool.
Yeah, I think when we went, it was like $600 or something.
Yeah. I think we paid about $75 a piece or something, and there was 10 of us. So.
It's a lot of money to put in your
Well,
pocket
there was
there.
10 of us the other time. The other time we they gave us a good discount the other time, and I don't know why. But the
Yeah.
first time I went with Puget Sound Ghost Hunters
Maybe she was pocketing the money, that's how she could give you a good deal.
Yeah.
when I was between groups.
Merchants is great too, though.
Yeah. You got to investigate it in the old days. That's pretty cool. What about you, Kim?
I have all kinds of weird stuff happen on the tours.
I know. Exactly.
I mean, the doll going off, and in the underground. Actually, that the one that's probably ever startled me the most was when I was back in the one corner in the underground, talking about the spirit back there and how he enjoys the blonde ladies, because he does generally prefer the blondes. And I was
Yeah.
I was in the middle of the story, and I felt like I got bear hugged from behind.
Whoa.
And I mean, there's a good, I'm against the wall. There's probably 3-4 feet behind me in the wall. There's no one behind me, and there's probably 6 feet between me and the closest person. There's no one around me, and it's dark, but it's not so dark I wouldn't have noticed someone coming up and bear hugging me. And it actually made me like.
Because you would have elbowed them. and
Exactly. I
probably
would,
hit them in the crotch after.
Yeah, exactly. And they would have felt that.
Yeah.
But it actually made me stop and mid-story and kind of and I had these really excitable girls on the tour, so I didn't really want to say anything at the time because they were already this close to losing their minds.
Oh, great.
Just going in the underground, they were like, "We're gonna die!" I'm like, "You're not gonna die. And so if I was suddenly like, oh yeah, I think a ghost just grabbed me, I think they would have peed themselves.
Yeah.
So I was just, they were like, what's going on? I was like, nothing, I hiccup.
Yes, that's really good. Yeah.
Because you have to know who you're, yeah, in merchants I've had, going up the stairs, I have my skirt tugged a lot. Like, it almost, to me, feels like a little kid trying to get my attention, who like tugs on the back of your skirt, and I turn around, there's no one there. It happens a lot when I'm going down the stairs to check to see if there's anyone down there to bring the tours down.
Mhm.
I don't usually have things happen when I have the whole group, of course. But when I'm by myself going down there, I've had that happen before.
Ross has had stuff happen with the group, they're going down the
Mhm.
stairs.
Yeah.
And I was in the group,
Well,
with the flashlights.
I've had people on the group say they felt things on the stairs before I've told stories. Like, they'll walk down, they'll be like, I swear somebody grabbed my leg. We did have something weird with the TV once, where it was, the Mariners were playing, and somebody made some crack about the Mariners, and all the lights went, and everyone just stopped. And I was like, take it back. They're like, I'm sorry, and the lights did it again. And I was like, that was interesting. But it's hard anytime you have that many people.
Exactly.
I mean, I know for a fact too, occasionally the bartenders try to like fuck with us, because some of them, I don't know, the current, there's a bunch of new ones, so I don't know that they do, but I know that there's been times they flick the lights, because they can control the lights and the sound from behind the bar, and I know for a fact there's been some times they've done that.
Probably.
And so anytime you're with the group, it's really, really hard to take a lot of that seriously. But yeah, the bear hug around the waist, that's probably that's the thing that threw me the most during a tour.
Yeah, that would do it.
Because yeah, it was like, boom. And it was not a normal tour of mine either, and that was part of why I wondered if that had something to do with it. I wasn't the tour guide scheduled for that day, I was covering for someone. But yeah, that's the doll too. The doll's going off. It's gone off more than once now. Yeah.
That's the doll with the music box. in
The
the
music
back.
box doll, yeah.
When she says
Oh,
going
so
off,
the
that
Deaf
means
Museum's altar?
Yeah. And she went off one time when I was here. It was after the tour. It was like 10:15 at night. And so there was, I don't know, 6 people left. And I was answering some questions. And the doll started going off. And so we all ran in the Deaf Museum. And there's no one in there. And it's not like you can set it to go off later. It's a traditional, you wind her up, she plays music. And so there's not a single person in there, and she played a little longer and then stopped. And then there was another time she started playing, but it was just a burst. It was just for like 4 seconds when I was in the middle of a tour in there. The problem is that the little chain that usually blocks people from going in had been down. And so you don't know if somebody had gone in, had maybe been messing with it, put her down, and it's that little, like, a footstep made her shift just enough that it jostled the music box for a few seconds. And so that time I didn't take that particularly seriously, but the people on the tour lost their minds. And it's hard to be like, this is probably nothing.
That's important that they got their money's worth, you know?
Yeah, they got their scare for the evening. Well, because I have them turn off their flashlights and do a whole, is there anyone there? And we have had a couple times where, like the pebble throwing, I've had the pebbles being thrown when I've done that, which kind of cracks me up because that used to happen over here all the time. Not a lot. I've had that happen maybe twice. Footsteps is really common, but we're right below the sidewalk, so.
That's a tough one, yeah.
Yeah, so people are like, there's footsteps! I'm like, yes, we are again under sidewalk. Not to be the buzzkill of the evening, but we are under sidewalk. So, presumably there are people walking above us right now. But,
Pretty cool. Jacob, would you like to share any of your millions of experiences?
Well, so nothing usually happens to me. So it's usually the folks I'm with. Like, the ghosts don't like me. It's probably because I got all the gadgets and I'm like, prove yourself.
like, we're gonna stay away from you.
So like, yeah, F that guy. I censored that, I know we have children present.
Do you think it could be that you're so focused on your
It could be.
equipment that you don't always
It's probably,
catch there?
I'm very,
There's a ghost tap dancing like right
Yeah.
behind him.
I'm just like,
You would never know, yeah. He's looking at
My equipment didn't go off.
They're
Nothing
going
happened.
through, you're like the Charleston.
You're not there.
No, I
So-
mean like the footsteps, if we hadn't been doing that, well, when we were investigating up there, we got it too, but we were doing that in experiment where we were sitting quietly.
we did that
And
one.
it was so, yeah, you guys didn't get
We
anything.
didn't get anything there.
But we were getting so many footsteps and it was obvious it was a bus.
Mhm.
You know, but if you're doing equipment and things, you may not
No, yeah, I mean, I just,
realize that nobody's
Well,
there and you're
you-
thinking
you were saying
someone's
with me,
walking.
all I did was have the GoPro on the monopod.
Yeah, you were
and I was just sitting there.
downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
We
that.
almost had a bat like fly into my face several times.
It was really cool because I got great recordings of, like, I played it back and I could hear, like, the
bat?
audio wave of what the bat sounds like.
Yeah, when I was listening
Yeah.
to the EVPs, it was kind of cool seeing the bat.
Yeah, and then the other one, you would just hear the from the,
Yeah, the
from
flapping.
it flying, the flapping, but you could, when you heard the screech, it sounded like 3
Oh
robotic.
yeah, the huge screech owls. It's like, oh my
Oh, yeah,
god.
no, this is the bats
Oh,
using,
is
this is using their echolocation
But
thing.
did you hear the screech owls
Oh,
too?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah. It's
god.
like you got a banshee around you. Yeah.
We're doing an EVP session, and we're just setting up in a completely back room. The black room is just this.
Yeah. Holy
Still, I'm
shit.
just like, okay, I don't know what that was.
Join A Ghost today at www.aghost.org.